everybody. Now, ever since I've done all the characters about either Chipmunks and Chipettes dating, that has been getting a lot of views on it. So I was a bit overwhelmed when I did this at first, only because when I was editing, I realized, like, how am I supposed to put this in order? Like, what way do I want to go? So I had to restart all over again, redo the images, and just start from scratch, because I was like, oh, wait a sec, I've got an idea, but I don't know how to put it into parts, you know what I mean? So it took a bit, but anyway, I did that as well in the meantime. So yeah, so we're going to talk about the epilogue of the whole relationship between Alvin and Brittany. So it is not going to include the other characters as well, it's just going to focus on them. And plus, Alvin and Brittany, out of all of the characters, they have the most moments, and that was also very hard to do during editing. I'm like, oh my god, there are so many moments, which ones do I use? So I won't use all of them, I won't go over all of the moments they have during the CGI films, the CGI series in the 80s. I've picked a few out, so we're going to talk about them, we're going to discuss. I know you're like, Mamilla, you just discussed about this. I know, but it's more focused on Alvin and Brittany than all the other characters as well. So with Simon and Jeanette and Eleanor, they don't need more explanation to their characters, because they don't have a big fan base or big iconic moments like Alvin and Brittany do, which we are going to discuss today. Between Alvin and Brittany, they are both different characters in their own right. Just keep that in mind as we go through this. But yeah, but even though they're very similar in taste, that gives them a lot of variety to go on with their relationship as well. They have that very iconic love-hate relationship, which we'll discuss here as well. So keep in mind, they're both different characters. They're both very similar characters, which I think makes them very compatible, because they're very similar, but also, you know, very different in taste and liking as well. So, in a 2015 show, the episode called Albertina, I love this episode, one of my favorite episodes from season 1. Really good, episode between the two. Alvin and Brittany do like a compatible love test, what would you call it? And then they find out and they suddenly freak out that they're going to end up in the future together. Which I could say here is not surprising and shocking to me, but why would it be surprising for Alvin and Brittany? Because they got so many moments together, like it wouldn't be shocking and surprising if they were to end up in the future together, and kind of seen that in the 80s and the CGI films a little bit, also here, so it's not something new. Like, this is like the core of Alvin and Brittany as well. Alvin and Brittany daydream of what the future would be like for them, we kind of seen that from their perspectives. We've got this beautiful photo of them, but there's a zoom out photo of the both of them. I'm curious what's going on here. Is Alvin proposing to Brittany? What? It looks like a proposal, but she's so far away, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but there's no ring, there's no like ring holder for Alvin, so that's interesting, unless they're like doing the Titanic thing, or like doing the what's that dance that they do when they lift up? Yeah, the time of our lives. Maybe they're doing stuff like that. I don't know. It looks like they're doing a dance number or something, but I don't know. Yeah, so Alvin dreams of his future with Brittany being completely different to what Brittany imagines. Like, she's scrubbing floors. Like, what is Brittany scrubbing floors? She's like a housewife. Maybe that's the vibe. Although this is giving me the vibe of the Cinderella, like the parody of that. They did a parody back in the 80s where she was Cinderella scrubbing the floors. So maybe it's kind of symbolizing that. But I don't understand why should it be a housewife in Alvin's vision, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I don't think Alvin would do that to her personally. But still, I still don't see a family. Because, you know, last time we talked about this, I said, they're together, obviously in that future sequence, but we don't see any evidence of the kids or anything, so maybe like early stages of marriage, I'm not quite sure. If they're really, directing the future, they should just have like kids running around somewhere just to give a hint of what was going on, even though this is a dream sequence and not actually real. This is like being played in Brittany and Alvin's minds, kind of. So during the episode, if you have seen the episode, this gives Alvin and Brittany a bit of edge, which they completely, switch personalities. Like Alvin becomes the goody two-shoes, however, becomes the rebel, and I just love that for her. Oh my god, the dyed pink in hair, I just love it so much. I wish that they explored that more with Brittany, because I'll be curious. There's one shot of both of them. I didn't get it here, but there's one shot of both of them when I was very shocked. Like, hey baby, what's up? It's kind of like that, Grace thing, like the T-Birds and, the other girls, what you call them, I don't know what you call them, but it gives them that vibe, sort of, and I kind of liked how they switched a bit it didn't last for the whole episode. They switched back eventually, but I just like that correlation between the two of the characters being so completely different, but also it shows how differences can work in some capacity as well. In season 2, Brittany the Boy Snatcher, Brittany falls in love with Alvin. Oh my god, look at those beautiful doughy eyes she's got. You can't really see what's going on because it's kind of like a dream, fantasy. When you're in love, basically, you kind of get that feeling as well. And then later on, she turns up at, the Seville house and just goo eyes of Alvin, like, hi, Alvin. That kind of thing, like this. And that reminds me a lot of the 80s Brittany. The 80s Brittany had goo eyes over Alvin as well, like in Dreamlining as well, that comparison as well. So I kind of like that as well. But she's like falling in love with Alvin, and Alvin has no idea what's going on because boys are clueless. I talked a little bit about this in my previous videos. I have not seen it, but I won't sugarcoat it here. I'll just go over it very quickly. I won't repeat it. But like I said here, Brittany tells Dave, that she has a huge crush on Alvin. And like, you cannot tell Alvin. I'm like, Brittany, he's obviously whispering. He's obviously, because in the next scene, he's obviously overhearing of what they're saying. So Alvin must have, accidentally got a run, basically. I'm not quite sure, but she's like, you cannot tell Alvin. And I'm like, hang on a sec. How is this like a personality of Brittany's? Brittany's more of the open and compassionate one, and Alvin's the one that kind of hides his feelings off Brittany. So why switch it? I don't understand the comparison, but yeah, but Brittany's more of the open one. She's like, I know you in love with me, so she's kind of like that. But I don't understand why she needs to hide her own feelings against Alvin. Basically, I'm not sure how I feel about that personally. So then Alvin calls and like, he really knows me. And then the next scene later, she thinks that this is stupid. I don't know why they put this in, but we're going with it. He thinks that Brittany is a boy snatcher. Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand how Alvin can actually, say to Brittany that he thinks that she's a body snatcher. To me, Alvin would never assume that Brittany was a body snatcher. So again, I don't understand that at all. I feel like there's a bit of lazy writing, to be honest with you. Alvin would never think that Brittany is a body snatcher ever, ever. So I'm not sure why they put that into the story, but oh well. Another episode later, right? I think it's season 3 maybe. Brittany thanks Alvin for saving her life, and I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. Now kiss. Because that looks like a kissing scene from a movie. They should have done it. But again, they keep teasing us to the point where it's like, guys, you gotta stop teasing us. It's like with Trolls, for example. I think in the third movie, Brad was almost going to propose to her, but wasn't what we thought it was be. So, yeah, again, they like to tease us. Just do the thing. Just make them kiss already. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I feel like it's a bit of I feel like that scene in particular is a kissing moment, and I wish I would have got there, but because it's a kid's show, then I understand the point of that. Also, later on in season 3, I think this is a blink once you miss it moment. So I couldn't catch it in advance, but Alvin, twirls Brittany around he spins her around there is some kind of romantic comedy movie, basically. So he spins her around, you can't really see it. But I actually saw an edit of someone, making them kiss in that scene as well. So that looks like more of a kissing moment, to be honest with you. The scene between them, they're at a dance. Obviously, a lot of things could happen at a school dance, obviously. I wish I would have gone there. Although, what the heck is Brittany wearing? I don't like her outfit here. I'm sorry, Brittany's a fashionista queen. Blue and pink don't really go together. It's weird that Jeanette and Eleanor's outfits look more disco-y type, but hers looks like she's going to a ball or something. I do not like the contrast. I do not like the blue. I wish she would have worn red, maybe. I think that would have been a better contrast for her styling. And, Brittany's a fashion icon, so why would she say to herself, let's go with pink and blue? I'm like, no, girl, you got to change it up to red. So I don't like her outfit here. I think it's too ball gown-ish, if you get what I mean. I wish it was on the line with Eleanor and Jeanette's outfits, because those are pretty cool. I like Jeanette's one with the glitter and with the glittery dress, and also I like Eleanor's one with the it looks like one of those nightgowns from the 1940s, basically, but it still works. It's kind of like a flowy dress, so I kind of like that. Tables turns. There's a lot of moments between Alvin and Brittany here, so keep your eyes out if you watch that episode in particular. So yeah, so Brittany tries to tell Alvin that, she's trying to tell him, Alvin, you're not just a video game player, because that's what happens in the episode. She's trying to tell him, and look at Alvin's face there. He knows what she's going to say, and he's like, and Brittany And Brittany backfires at the last minute. It's like, oh, your hair. I'm like, Brittany, no, just tell him how you feel already. This is ridiculous. Like, Brittany would never hide her feelings between Alvin. Like, never in my entire life. So I don't know why they made that decision to make her do that, basically. Because Brittany's not like that. Brittany's a very open book, and I like that about her. So they're huge hits in the CGI feels if you've seen him as well. Now, I've watched Chipmunks 100 times now. That's how many times I watch the CGI films. I should rewatch one of them one day. It's pretty good. I need to get the cleanser of 2015 show out of my mind. That's what I do with The Little Mermaid. I watched the original when I was very sick still, I think. And I'm like, oh, I love the original so much. So that's what I did. But anyway, me rambling on. So yeah, in this moment, I've watched Chipmunks like 1,000 times, like I said before, and I never realized, now this moment, I did not realize Alvin and Brittany had their hand on each other. Like, oh my God, how did I not catch that? I watched this movie like 1,000 times over. How did I not miss that? See, if you're a really big Alvin and Brittany fan, you gotta look at the hints. Like, the hints are very important. I'm like, oh, there's a hint, oh, there's a hint. It's like finding where's Waldo at, basically. So you really got to pay attention to hints as well. So in Double Trouble, I think this is in season 2, I think. So in this episode, Alvin gets electrocuted as well, and he kind of has like a dream. Now this is a whole dream sequence. It's not real technically, like the Albertina episode that we just discussed earlier on. So yeah, so I think it's a parody of him and Brittany having twins because it's 2 of them. So one's kind of like feely, touchy, and the other one's like very tough and exterior. And you can kind of see that playing here as well. And, the other Alvin says, gosh, you're beautiful. And she's like, thank you. And, there's that thing where, Alvin likes Brittany, that kind of thing. So that kind of plays into that as well, which I love as well. So we're going to call them by A1 and A2 because that's a lot easier than saying both Alvins, basically. So I want to say A2 maybe. So the second Alvin, kisses Brittany's hand, and the first Alvin says, no! Look at his reaction to that. Oh my God, that was so funny. But afterwards, later on, Brittany says, I can't look after a wild card like you. So, and then she leaves. I'm like, whoa, come back here. Let me finish that thought process before you take off and say that. So, my question is, does Alvin really think Brittany is like that? I don't think so. Like, Brittany would never assume that. Like, I think Brittany, deep down inside, she's a bit of a wild card as well. She's a little bit rebellious, like Alvin as well, kind of. So she would never think that, unless that's what Alvin's thinking in his mind. Although this could be a whole dream sequence, so we don't know what he thinks is true or not. So that's very hard to play with as well. So it makes me kind of wonder if I don't think Brittany would ever say that. Absolutely not. 100% not. Brittany would never say that to Alvin. But maybe that's what he thinks. But I don't know. Like, I think Brittany, would not change Alvin for the world, basically, because she likes him just the way he is. And obviously, Brittany, Alvin likes her the way she is as well. So there's that comparison too. So you all know by now, Alvin and Brittany fight a lot. We're talking about a lot here. Not just a little, not just a tiny bit, a lot. They argue a lot. I wonder how they resolve it in the end. Because all the other chipmunks are there as well, and they're like, oh guys, stop arguing. Maybe they're like that. But yeah, but they're just, I wouldn't change their relationship for the world, basically. But we'll talk about that later on. But it's just them. And there's a very iconic shot that they did in the 2015 show. Also parodying them, being very angry at each other and looking at each other very closely. So that's a very iconic shot from the 80s as well. So they fight and argue and hate each other. There is still love. Like, you feel the compassion and love, which the 80s did have. Like, you kind of see it in full form. Here, not so much. I mean, they argue like cats and dogs, basically, here. Like, there's no rare moments between the two. I mean, there are some moments between the two of them in the 2015 show, but not a lot. It's more about hate, which I don't get, because Brittany and I are not like that. Not on hate. They could have love and hate, but the trick is to make an Alvin and Brittany relationship work, but the hate in it, the toxicity is going to make some people very, not angry, but I think very frustrated. And we already are frustrated with the show and with the condition. I heard the ratings are so low, so I'm like, guys, you gotta get back on track. This is ridiculous, so, So when they redesigned all these characters, I do not like Brittany's angry look here. Like, she looks she looks cute angry. You know, when you're angry, you're not supposed to be cute angry, if you get what I mean. I just don't like her redesign of her angriness here. The trick is, you know, Brittany has a very crazy, you know, angry look, like she's about to kill someone and stab them. Basically, that's the whole general identity of Brittany. You know, she's got that crazy look on her eye that she's gonna kill someone. That's Brittany for ya. But here, I don't see it. Like, it's either one we got that, but I don't understand why it's not like that here. And also, in the 80s, you know, we've got that crazy look Brittany, which I love, because you're not supposed to be cute angry. You're supposed to be, like, furious, like, oh, I stubbed my toe, oh, you're so angry, like, oh, you know, that kind of thing. And I think that really draws Brittany in as a very interesting character to play with as well. Brittany, in one episode, she fries Alvin out, and I'm like, well, Brittany, you can't do that. You know, Alvin's trying to help you, and she just pushes him out the door. That's a bit rude. I'm like, okay, Brittany, I understand you're mean sometimes, but you're a bit of a bully as well, so don't do that as well. Also, there's one scene from School Alone which I did not agree with at all. She's literally got Alvin in a net. Which begs the question if Brittany's the abuser in the relationship. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Don't open that door. I feel like she's a bit too rude and a bit too bullyish, if you get what I mean. Like, Brittany can be still, like, a passionate and mean, but you gotta force the two together, and I just don't understand this. Like, I do worry that little kids are gonna watch this, like, oh, maybe I should do it to my younger brother. Like, no, please don't do that. So I feel like they're sending the wrong message. Like I said, repetition is key. Kids these days, unfortunately, will see something on TV, like, oh, cool, let's do that. And they will end up, physically hurting themselves. So I would not allow little kids to watch this unless with parents, supervised or something like that. So yeah. Speaking of moments, I did not catch this. When they were sleeping over, guess who's next to Brittany? Alvin is. Oh my god, how did I not clock that? Also, like the moment, I did a short about this a while ago, and people got very mad at me on the comments, like, what, you can't do that? It was to a Marvin Gaye song, let's talk about something. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me or something like that. And people got really mad about it. I'm like, excuse me. If you have watched the 80s, you know that the relationship is not sexual, but you kind of get that sexual tension between the two of them. So I had to take it down. Like, guys, you don't understand. You don't watch the 80s. You've watched the 80s and the CGI films. You kind of get that sexual tension between the two of them, which I do have in general as well. So in Baby Mama drama, I did not know they were going to do this, but they have a school thing in school, like parenting 101 basically, and all of them both have robotic babies. Oh my god, I think people are gonna freak out about that, like, oh my god, it's coming true. Basically, so I wonder how you guys feel about that personally. Although I don't understand why they have like robotic human babies. I understand they're in the human world, but can't you just get like, I'm sure like they have like Chipmunk stuffies that they could pretend to be a baby, because that would make more sense, because like I said, a human baby is bigger than an average chipmunk, so I'm not sure how I feel about that personally, but anyway. Focus more on Alvin and Brittany becoming parents, which I think is a really good idea. Whoever thought of that's a really good idea. So you kind of see it happening. We know what Alvin's going to be like when he has kids. He's going to be kind of like the serious overprotective one, while Brittany's just like, oh, I don't even care about the kid. She literally throws the kid and gives it to his crying, like, Brittany, what are you doing, girl? And then later on, like, Alvin says, where's the baby at? And he's like, so, like, not sneering at her, but like very frustrated with her, basically, if that's the term. And she's like, oh, stuff like that. So they don't worry, they get the fake baby back. But I think that really works for them, because Alvin and Brittany have that love-hate relationship. I'll be curious to see. I don't know if they'll do this, but I think what we've always wanted them to do, which they haven't done yet, is let them have kids. And I think the only way for them to make new characters is if they obviously, have baby chipmunks. I think that's the only way I can see this going through. Like, maybe they have like a lost family member or something. Maybe that could be cool. But that's the only way I see it. But I really like the dynamic of the two. I really like how Brittany says, hey, Cuddlebug looks great. And Alvin says, I hate that name. And he's like, I know you do. That's a parenting 101. Oh my God, they have the parenting vibes all over. I'm not sure how I feel. I know they had twins in the future episode back in the 80s, so I'm not sure what their parenting style would be. But I'll be very curious to see what their parenting skills would be like if they did have kids someday. That could be an interesting story, and I'm here for it. Let's talk about the Disaster Season 5 episode called Bubble Wrap. Now, I rewatched this during I was sick. That was a terrible mistake. Because, you watch something once, like, oh, did I get this right? Am I stupid? Am I dumb or something? And I watch it again, I'm like, okay then. Because when I watched it the first time online, because the episode wasn't available to us yet when in Australia, I watched it online and I was like so shocked faced afterwards, like, what did I just watch? What did I just witness here? So that was a bit weird. So yeah, so the whole story of it, still cringy still. I would never watch it again, but I was very sick of the flu, so there was nothing else to do, so I'll just watch it because season 5 was going to premiere anyway, so I just watched it anyway on Netflix, so I did. So yeah, so the whole premise of the story is that it's a very weird story. I don't know how to put it into context, but basically, Brittany and Alvin, sort of, argue and hate with each other, like argue a lot in this episode. I don't know why on earth. There's usually the reason why they argue, but not here, which is very weird. So yeah, so I've never heard of popping acorns before. Is that a thing, or did they just make that up for the show? Speaking of acorns, because the Chipmunks get it, I can understand more of the bubble wrap thing, to be honest with you, and the episode's called Bubble Wrapping, not Acorn Popping, so I don't know, the titles threw me off a little bit, but yeah, with the bubble wrap, I have a severely autistic brother who was obsessed with bubble wrap. I remember when he was a lot younger, he was non-verbal back then, and no joke, all of his room was covered in bubble wrap. Like, no joke, I'm not even kidding. Like, his whole room was covered in bubble wrap, and that's a really good sensory toy to have. Bubble wrap's very, relaxing if you've got, like, a severely autistic brother or something, like even slime. Like, my brother loves slime, like, the feel of it, the texture of it, if you have, like, an autistic person in the family. So that's also, so I can understand the bubble wrap, but not the acorn popping, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but then again, I'm like, why does Alvin need a stress release thing? Like, it's so weird, like, and why does Brittany, I can understand Brittany's stress relief because of Alvin, of course, maybe, but I just don't understand that. It's kind of like a bit of weird obsession when you think about it, so I didn't get that as well. And they start with dreams about, the other person becoming the bad guy. I'm like, what the heck is going on? What the heck am I watching? Alvin and Brittany would never assume that because they're both love interest. I know people say they're enemies to lovers, which I can understand, but I don't think they would ever pinpoint themselves as the enemy. And for this Alvin Brittany show to go down south, it's quite humiliating, insulting for them as well, because you don't think that, because they're both main characters of their own show. You wouldn't think that, but yeah, it's just so weird. It was just very weird. It was like so much hate towards them. There's no love. There's no, oh, I'm sorry I hurt you, nothing like that. Usually they have a pretty relationship, even though they argue, they'll always, apologize to each other. And that's a very mature thing to do. Here it's just like, man, oh, you did this, you did that. Oh, man, there was one point where they're kind of, oh, no, what did I do? But then it's kind of back to fighting. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense, but okay. What's lacking in the 2015 show of their relationship is the love, and you can see and feel the love between the two, even though they got a love-hate relationship still. It's more about love. Like, if you have like an upside-down cupcake, for example, it's sprinkled with lots of love and compassion, and then there's hate on top of it, and then there's more love. So that's the whole point of an Alvin and Brittany relationship, is like, there's hate, but there's also love. There's also, little sprinkles, but there's also love on top, like a disastrous cupcake. So that's what's kind of missing, that noir style, the, sexual tension. I mean, we can feel the room, like, oh my God. Sometimes one of those, like, old classic noir style movies, like, you see clips on, oh my God, why is it so romantic? But it is romantic, even though it's a love-hate relationship, which I love. And also in CGI films, you can kind of see that as well. Like, like when Alvin's sad and shipwrecked, you guess who comforted him? It was Brittany. And like, oh my God, look at Brittany's face. She looks so worried about him. And I think this begs the question, that maybe at this point, maybe Brittany's temper is a reflux or like a little tick that just won't go away. So if I were her, I would say don't get mad so often. Because there was one time in the Moncast where she got really mad at Alvin for something. He just came in like, Brittany, I understand you're mad at Alvin, but he never did anything wrong. So I'm like, anyway. Overall, their relationship is so iconic, like so iconic. They've got so many moments out of all the characters as well. Will we have more moments like this in the reboot? Of course. I don't think they'll stop at nothing. If there's no moments between Alvin and Brittany, I'll be so sad. And the fact that the 2015 show was so awful makes me kind of think if you stop those moments, then I don't think people will tune into a new reboot. So I do kind of worry about that. Like I said before, the relationship part is not part of, the show or the movie, but it's kind of part of it still, but in like secret hidden stuff they can kind of see. Also, so I don't think they'll stop. If they stop, I'll be very angry. I'll be super angry, like, hey, give me Brittany and Alvin moments as well. So I'll be like that as well, like screaming, like, hey, give me more moments of those two, because, I love them so much. So yeah, also, speaking of our relationships, I know we didn't talk about them too much in the video, but please bring back Theodore and Alan's relationship, because in the 2015 show, they've done them poorly. Oh my god. I think the reason why there's no relationship or connection between Alan and Theodore, because they're both different, stages. Theodore's more potentially acting like a baby, and Alan's more of the mature one, and that kind of doesn't make any sense. So I would love them to bring back, like the Squidward relationship vibes. Oh my god, that scene between the two of them was so adorable. Bring that back. I demand you to bring that back, because that was such a good scene as well as the cafeteria scene with Alvin and Brittany as well. As for Simon and Jeanette, I'm going to offend a lot of Simon and Jeanette fans out there, oh boy. As for them, I would just push them in the background. They've had their time. It's very hard to do a shy relationship in a show or like a movie, because it's a shy relationship. So what would you do? Unfortunately, between Theodore and Eleanor and Alvin and Brittany, sorry, they don't really have a lot of moments. It's very shy-esque kind of thing. So I would just push them to the background. Like, I don't think Simon and Jeanette fans out there are begging them for more moments. I think they're actually taking over, to be honest. So I would just leave them in the background for a bit. And that's totally fine. They had that big moment in Chipmunks. So I'll just leave it there. So that's all the time, guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to Mills Media, guys.